works. Welcome, everybody. Can everybody hear me over the thing? Is it too loud or no? It's good? Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Glendale Police Department Police Officer Recruit Orientation. Glad to have you here. We're going to show you tonight. We'll tell you all about the process, all the testing dates, everything that's involved in it, and you'll have a real good look at what the testing process is going to be like. We'll also be available afterwards to answer any questions that you have. We'll do it first as a group, but if you'd be more comfortable one-on-one, all of us will be available afterwards, and you can ask any questions that you have of us, okay? If you see me talking here or here, we're also broadcasting on YouTube and Periscope, so that's all that, so don't mind any of that. So my name is Tom Sy. I'm a background investigator in the Personnel Management Unit. I'd like to introduce our staff here. These are the folks that are involved in putting the testing together and also helping you along your way, along your journey of becoming a police officer. So we have our unit sergeant, Sergeant Kim Dominguez. And then behind her is, we'll talk with the assistant chief here, Chris Briggs, here in just a moment. Adam Bechtel is our personnel manager. He's in kind of charge of the whole operation. Next to him is Ann Sullivan, and we also have one of our police officers, Gennaro Eitri. He's on light duty and helping us out here for a little bit. So these are the guys and girls that'll be, hey, welcome, will be helping you out along your process. So the first thing we'll do is we'll have Assistant Chief Chris Briggs come up here and talk to you a little bit about police work and what you can expect from this process. So, Chief.
Good evening. Real loud for the people at home. Good evening. I am Chris Briggs. I want to welcome you here. We appreciate your interest in this profession. I normally walk around, but I'm stuck with a mic here. We're glad you're here. The interest in the profession, and more specifically, your interest in the Glendale Police Department. First things first, as my partner says, if you're here looking for a job, you're in the wrong place, because this is a career. This is something that you really invest your time, energy, and life into. The process that you're going to go through just to get hired takes a long time. They try to make it as streamlined as possible, but there's a lot that goes into it. You're going to have to dredge up a lot of your past and take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, am I really ready to do this? And the fact that you're here, we believe that you are, but you have to be prepared for it. You don't have to look far to see the negative narrative in the news about law enforcement, right? It's out there. So we're in a challenging time in this profession, but it's a unique opportunity for us to actually stand up and recognize who it is that we serve and do the right thing by the people that we serve. There's things that have occurred across the country that had nothing to do with us, had nothing to do with the Glendale Police Department, but it affects us. Because when we wear the badge and we wear the patch, we don't just represent our city, we represent this profession. And everything that we do out on the street when we're dealing with the public affects each and every officer across the country. There are things happening right now back east where an officer is having a good contact with somebody, and they might move to Glendale, and they're going to remember that good contact that they had, right? And I'm going to have a good contact with them. But what if there's a bad contact? I say this because you are hopefully going to become part of something bigger than yourself. And it's critical that you recognize that. It's not just about you. It's about the people you serve, the people that you serve with in this honorable profession. We're looking for people that will wear the badge with humility, not arrogance. We're going to teach you laws. We're going to teach you policies. We're going to teach you the expectations that we want from you and that we expect from you. We're going to teach you how to defend yourself and how to defend others. We're going to teach you how to communicate with people, and more than anything else, we're going to teach you how to serve. And that has to be done with humility because we are a service organization. Does that make sense? It's a great career. It's got ups and downs just like any other career. But I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've got 24 years on, and in that time, I have worked patrol, worked burglary investigations, I was a gang detective, I was a SWAT operator, got promoted, supervised SWAT, was the SWAT commander, bomb squad, supervisor, K-9 supervisor. I worked internal affairs. I'm sure none of you are really looking for that career path at this point. I worked special events for many, many years with the stadium and the arena, part of the 2 Super Bowls that were here, BCS championships. And now I'm an assistant chief. Started here at 22, sat in a room just like you 24 years ago. So there's great opportunity in Glendale. We have a lot to offer. We have a great city. Our city is, I liken it to a small town feel. Our agency is small enough that you can get to know everybody, but we are also a national destination center. So we have large city responsibilities, and it's fun. There's a lot to this job, but it's fun. It's not all like you see on the TV shows, not at all. It exists, but it's not all like that, but it's a fun job. It's a rewarding job. Just remember, we serve with humility and not arrogance. That's all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me before we move? This is my first one, so I'm just making sure I cover all the bases. All good? All right, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Chief. All right, we'll get started with the presentation and filling you in about everything that's going to be happening here in the next couple of weeks. As you'll find through the process, there's a lot of periods of nothing going on, and then all of a sudden you're doing 16 things in 1 week. That's just the nature of the process. So be prepared for that now. You'll have these like kind of walls where nothing's going on, then all of a sudden we got you running all over the state of Arizona doing all kind of stuff. So be prepared for that. So I'll introduce you first off to the core values of the Glendale Police Department. There's 6 of them, as you can see here on the screen: integrity, courage, excellence, respect, compassion, and dedication. Every single thing that you do in this process, every test that you take, every interview that you have, every document that you fill out, we expect you to show these 6 core values. Everything in your current employment, everything in your family life, everything that you do from this point forward, we expect you to exude these values, because this is what it takes to be a police officer here in the city of Glendale, in everything that you do, in every way. If you show these 6 values in everything that you do, you are probably going to be very successful in this process. Okay? If you're lacking in one of these or 2 of these or all of these, probably not going to do very well. This is what's expected of you as a police officer. This is what your fellow officers will expect of you. This is what the chief expects of you. This is what our community demands of us as police officers, to show these in every single interaction, every single decision that we make, both on and off duty. And that starts for all of you right here tonight. Okay? A little bit about our department. We are authorized sworn strength of 427 police officers. We also have 130 civilian employees with our department doing various tasks like records and detention and communications and backgrounds and all kind of different things. There's tons of specialty assignments. You heard the assistant chief talking about all the things that he has done. In addition to that stuff, we have the SWAT team, bomb squad, canine, motors, criminal investigations, undercover units. There's all kind of things to do in this department. The one thing that, a lot of people find this career appealing because there are so many things to do. So our department is large enough that affords you the opportunities to do pretty much whatever you want to do. You're never really stuck somewhere. Sometimes you're like, you're in the office, 9 to 5, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to do this the next day, and the next day, and the day after that, and the week after that, and the year after that. That's not the case here in police work. You can do that if you find something that you like. Like, for example, here in backgrounds, I love it. I love background investigations. I love recruiting. I want to do this for the rest of my career. That might not be the case for you. Maybe you say, you know what, I just like patrol. I want to work patrol for 25 years. You can do that. If you want to go work investigations, or if you want to, finish that and go work somewhere else, you have the freedom and the ability to do that as well. So with all these specialty assignments that we have, we test every year for almost every position. There's always movement. So there's tons of things that you can do within the police department. Sometimes people ask, so I'll just kind of throw it out there, but sometimes people ask, like, well, I want to start right away. I want to be a detective. Well, that's not quite how it works. You got to start off going to a police academy, and then you got to put some time on. So here in Glendale, you have to work 2 years on patrol before you can start testing for things. So really, 2 years isn't that long. And believe you me, those 2 years are going to go by very quickly. You're going to learn a lot, and then you're going to say, my goodness, no wonder they don't let us do this right off the street, because, wow, I didn't know half the stuff that I thought I did, okay? While you're on patrol as well, so when you're thinking about those 2 years, there's a lot of stuff that you can do on patrol. So for example, when I first started here, I did patrol for 5 years. I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a cop. My father was a police officer. I wanted to do that. So I got on and I went to the police academy. I started patrolling, and it was like, now what? What am I going to do? I don't know. So while you're on patrol, there are several things that you can even do there. You could be, for example, I was a crime scene officer, where you go out and you take photographs of crime scenes, and you can collect, different bodily fluids and different things of that nature. You take pictures of injuries. You could be a field training officer, where you're training new recruits coming out of the academy. You teach them, how Glendale does policing and all the regulations and rules and things of that nature. There are different, neighborhood response units that you can be involved in. They have focused type of patrol areas. You can start your own project if whatever beat that you're in. Let's say there's an apartment complex or something like that that's having a lot of problems. You can take responsibility for that and start your own project and help clean that up. So there's tons of things that you can do just on patrol without even being in a specialty. You can become bike certified and ride bicycles at the stadium, at the Super Bowl, and all kind of events and around the neighborhoods, whatever it is you want to do. So you're never really stuck here, which is very appealing to a lot of people. It's something that if, like I said, if you find something that you like, you can stay there pretty much as long as you're doing a good job. You can stay there as long as you like. If you want to move to something new every year, you can do 25 different specialties. That's the beauty of policing. Okay, some general information on how to apply if nobody has yet, or if anybody has yet. You can visit our website, glendaleaz.com/policejobs, to get started. There's a link on there that says go to Human Resources website, and then you find Police Officer Recruit, and you can apply through the computer system. Has everybody applied, or has nobody applied yet? What's kind of the ratio? Is there anybody who hasn't applied as of yet? Okay. So this will be more tailored for you, but even if you have applied, I highly recommend, if you haven't visited our YouTube channel, we have a video on our YouTube channel. So you just go to YouTube and you type in the search field GPD Recruitment, and that'll pop up our channel. We have several videos on there, including tonight. It'll be on there a little later, but we have videos about some tips to help you through the application process. A lot of times people just kind of speed through it, just like you would a normal job application, or you just, well, it's on my resume, they'll see it. Don't make those mistakes. Your applications are scored, and that's how you get invited to the testing. So if you haven't, make sure you watch that tips video so you can maximize and get the most points and ensure yourself that you move through. So if you've already filled out an application, you want to go back, you can go back in and submit another one, and we'll just pair them up. So make sure you go on there and watch that. There's a lot of great tips to help you get through the process. All communication throughout the process is done via email. So when we screen the applications, we'll talk about the dates of that. We'll send you an email to invite you to the written test and the physical test and the oral boards. When you make it the backgrounds, everything. It's all done through email. So it's very important that you keep your email up to date. So if you change your email or you get hacked and somebody from Libya or somewhere is trying to send you pyramid schemes or what have you, you might want to change it and let us know, okay, so we can keep in touch with you. Again, our commitment is to keep you informed. We will inform you wherever you're at in the process every single step of the way, so you'll know. It may not be the second that you send it, but it'll be in a relatively soon time frame. So we'll keep you posted about everything. Our social media channels are a wealth of information about testing dates and stuff. We're always posting things on there, so you can follow us on there. Again, that's just GPD Recruitment. We're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and everywhere. So we post about testing things and where we're at. We're always posting photos and just interesting things that we're doing in the process, so you can kind of have a feel of where we're at. Okay, the application process, we are currently open accepting applications. We'll do so until the 24th of this month. And then all the applications will be reviewed for, minimum qualifications and things of that nature to make sure you're a U.S. citizen and you got a high school diploma or a GED. And that'll take place the 25th and the 26th. And then on April 27th, we'll send out emails to everybody inviting the people who pass the minimum qualifications. We'll send you an invite to the written tests, okay? So on the 27th, if you haven't gotten an email, it's time to go into panic mode, check your spam folders and do all that. And if you haven't found anything, then reach out to us and let us know. But we'll be sending those out on the 27th. The written exam is slated for May 13th and May 14th. I believe that's Friday, Saturday, correct? Yes, so it'll be Friday and Saturday, the two testing dates there. If you pass the written exam, you will move on to the physical assessment testing. And that happens the 15th and the 16th, and we'll get into everything that these entail here in just a second, but this is just to give you the dates. So the 15th, 16th, that's a Sunday, Monday, will be the physical test. And then on the 17th, all the applications will be scored, compiled, kind of ranked, and then we'll send everybody invitations who have passed those two things. You'll get invited for the oral board and essay exam on the 18th of May. So it's like I said, you can see where I was talking about where this, you do a bunch of stuff, then you wait a couple of weeks, and then, oh my goodness, you got 3 things going on, then you wait a couple of weeks, okay? Okay, the initial testing information, the written exam consists of 168 questions. There is a study guide available on our website. If you have not seen that, I would highly recommend going on there and taking that study guide. There's like a practice test. Even if you've taken a police test somewhere else, please do yourself a favor, go online and view our study guide, okay? Every agency uses a different test. They have different formats, the questions are in different ways. So even if you've passed a test somewhere else or if you failed a test somewhere else, this one will be different. That's just the nature of the system. So make sure you visit our website and check out the study guide, okay? You can also go on like Google and type in like, police entrance exams or something like that. And there's a bunch of free ones that you can take. Take as many as you can. You want to be confident going into that. It really is truly like any test that you've ever taken before. If you haven't taken one, you'll find out quickly, okay? And it's simply that way because you don't know what's on the test. Like when you're in school, you go to your math class and you have, 3-4 weeks of lectures and you know what's coming. Well, the police test, you really have no idea. So, there's some basic math stuff, there's some reading comprehension, a lot of multiple choice stuff, some memorization and scenario type things. But if you haven't taken one before, it'll surprise you. The physical assessment test, there is excuse me, 3 events that we have you participate in for the physical assessment test. You have to do 19 push-ups, no time limit. And ladies, it's just normal style push-ups, so you can't be on your knees. It'll be just like a normal military style push-up, okay? 28 sit-ups in 1 minute, and a 1.5 mile run in 13:59 or less. Those are the minimum qualifications on what it takes to pass the testing process. Obviously, it's a test, so the better that you do, the better that you'll do on the list for getting invited to the next stage, okay? If you have not been physically active as of yet, I cannot stress this enough. I tell every single class, and still at some point somebody goes out there and they have no idea how many push-ups they can do. They don't have any idea how many sit-ups they can do, and they can't run but a lap, and then they end up walking off, okay? Push-up, sit-ups, run. 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 From now until the time you go to the academy, you will absolutely thank me later, okay? The main things that you do in the academy are, guess what? Push-up, sit-ups, run, okay? If you can master this part now, and you have plenty of time, if you start now, even if you have done nothing up until this point physically, if you go home tonight and you do some push-ups and sit-ups, you get up in the morning, you do some runs, and repeat, and repeat, and repeat, you are going to be pretty successful. If you just say, well, you know what, I was on the track team in high school, I used to bang out 40 push-ups, I'll be fine, I got to work late tonight, I was on football, I played basketball, I did this, you're probably going to fail. I'm telling you that now. I hate to be grim. We see it every single testing process. People come out and they got, their old football jerseys or whatever, and they go out there and they do 2 push-ups and they fall over, and we got to call the paramedics. So don't do that. Push-up, sit-ups, run, push-up, sit-ups, run, push-up, sit-ups, run, push-up, sit-ups, run, okay? Do not take that lightly. Secondary testing. So if you get past the written and the physical examination, we have you come back for an oral board interview and a written essay. So an oral board, if you've never been in front of an oral board panel, it is nerve-wracking. I've been in front of several of them. If I was going to one tomorrow, I'd be nervous. It's just the nature of it. An oral board, what it is you sit down in front of a panel of 3 uniformed police officers, and they ask you a bunch of questions, ranging from, your general knowledge and also like scenario type things and what you would do in a certain situation, okay? Our written essay is kind of like, when you were in, like 9th grade English class and you had to write, a paper about something, okay? Those will take place the 24th of May to the 26th of May. If anybody's from out of state, I know online may be watching, but we'll have that happen on the 16th of May. So if you're an out-of-state candidate, you'll do the written, the physical, and then right into this if you pass those 2 all that same weekend, okay? All the scores will be compiled regardless if you're in-state or out-of-state. All these scores will be compiled on the 27th of May, and then on the 31st of May, the top candidates will be assigned to a background investigator, and the process will begin for them, okay? What I will caution you about is the way that everything is done is that all your scores go into a matrix, okay? So your written exam score, your physical score, your oral board score, and your written essay score. All that goes into a matrix. Don't ask me to explain that. That's Adam's thing. He created it. That's way above me. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So it goes into this matrix, and it kind of spits out a ranking list, okay? If you're number 40 on the list or you're number 1 on the list, there really is no difference, okay? So don't feel bad if you don't get a call right away. We'll get to you. It's just the way that we work things, okay? Number 1 is no better than number 40. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? It's just the way that it's spit out, okay? That's how we start calling people. We got to have some system, and that's just the one that we use. So if you don't get a call right away, don't be discouraged. Don't feel like you blew it. Oftentimes, we hire more people from the bottom of the list than we do the top of the list for various reasons we'll discuss here in a minute, okay? All right, if you when you go to the background investigation, it's comprised of several parts. The first would be a background interview. So what that is you'll have a packet and it consists of about 3 million questions, digging deep into your personal life. And you'll fill the packet out. You'll come in for a background interview with either myself or my partner, Michelle Blanco, who's not here tonight. She's ill. So, but you'll have a background interview with one of us. And we'll go over your packet and ask you all those questions again in preparation for the polygraph examination, okay? The polygraph examination, if you've never taken a polygraph before, it is pretty much exactly like you see on TVs and movies. You got a big box, got a bunch of needles, you're all strapped in, you're gonna be nervous no matter what. It is exactly like that. But all the questions that are on the polygraph, you can be rest assured of this, all the questions that are on the polygraph are from your packet. Okay, so there's really no surprises, there's no sucker punches, no crazy questions, nobody's shining spotlights on you or beating you up with phone books or anything like that, okay? It's as relaxed as it can be, but all the questions are from that packet that you fill out and go over with your background investigator. You'll have a patrol ride-along, and what that is you go on a ride-along with a real-life Glendale police officer. You ride the entire shift, the whole 10 hours. That gives you an opportunity to see a briefing. You get to see how information's disseminated. And in briefings, if you've never been on a ride-along and never seen one, it's just like in movies and stuff. There's a sergeant in the front of the room, a bunch of officers, and they're telling you, we got burglaries over here, and this has happened over here. And it's exactly like that. But it gives you a chance to see the kind of equipment that we wear, the kind of uniforms that we have. You see how the car's set up, the type of equipment in the car, how we get dispatched to calls, how we interact with the public, how the public interacts with us. It's a really good look at what your life will be like as a Glendale police officer, okay? Now, police work is police work no matter where you go, but everybody tends to do it just a little bit differently. So even if you've been on a ride-along before, this will be eye-opening in the sense that you'll notice things right away. Wow, okay, they do it this way, or they do that way. The PAT update, what that is the physical fitness update. Those numbers and that test that we just talked about, we make you do it again because, unfortunately, sometimes people, they come through the first time around, they do 19 push-ups. Yeah, I made it. And they don't do anything else, okay? Again, push-up, sit-ups, run, push-up, sit-ups, run, push-up, sit-ups, run, push-up, sit-ups, run, from now until you go to an academy, okay? Our chief takes physical fitness very seriously. And this is an area she will consider very strongly in her choice whether to hire you or not. So don't take it lightly. Get into the best shape that you can and stay there. You'll also have an executive interview, and what that is an actual sit-down interview with one of our assistant chiefs of police. So it may be with Assistant Chief Briggs or Assistant Chief St. John. What this does, it gives you an opportunity to ask a high-ranking member of our department any question that you want. Maybe it's something that you notice on the ride-along or some question that you always had about police work. This is a perfect time to get those questions answered, okay? So that's the initial testing process. Now, some of the disqualifiers, this comes up a lot. People want to know about these. In terms of being disqualified, there's two types of disqualifiers. There's permanent disqualifiers, which means you can never be a police officer in our city, okay? When I'm talking about disqualifiers, I am only talking about our department. I'm not discussing any other department or anybody's regulations. I'm only speaking about here with the Glendale Police Department, okay? So there's two types. There's permanent disqualifiers, which means forever, you can never apply here again. And then there's temporary disqualifiers, which means, okay, just something's too soon for us, you can apply after a certain amount of time, okay? Permanent disqualifiers, some of those include criminal stuff, conviction of crimes considered to be felonies here in Arizona. So if you've been convicted of a crime, unfortunately, you can't be a police officer in the state of Arizona. That's an Arizona Post rule. Arizona Post is the governing body here in the state. They're the ones that say you can be a police officer, okay? Police officer certification. So if you're a former police officer and you've had your certification revoked, denied, or suspended in the past, sorry, but you cannot be a police officer. Drug usage, any use of dangerous drugs or narcotics other than for experimentation, and use of marijuana other than experimentation. And then military-wise, if you've been dishonorably discharged from the military, you can't be a police officer here in the state of Arizona. Okay, so those are some permanent disqualifiers. Some temporary disqualifiers, and again, these are things that don't mean that you're not a good person. It doesn't mean that you can't be a police officer. It's just right now, it's just too soon. Whatever the issue may be, maybe it's too soon or it's too much for right now, but you wait out a certain amount of time and then you can apply and you'll be fine. Some of those are like credit issues. So if you have a bunch of loans in default or something like that, then you're going to have to get that stuff straightened out and then come back and see us. Traffic violations, so if you leave here tonight and you get 12 speeding tickets on the way home, you're probably going to have to wait a little bit. If you have any, the typical drug setbacks, recent use of any type of drug, that you're going to have to wait some time until that's through. And then any type of criminal activity as well. If you've been arrested for a misdemeanor, yesterday or something like that, you're just going to have to wait. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or you're not going to be good at this job. We just need a little more time to pass. Okay, if you make it through all that stuff that we just talked about in the initial background phase, your packet of all your results and everything that you've done, it'll go up the chain of command for a conditional offer. What a conditional offer is essentially it's a piece of paper and it says, hey, we like you a whole heck of a lot. We want to give you a job, but you got to get through the rest of the process first, okay? The rest of the process is precisely this. You'll have a psychological exam and a medical exam. There is absolutely nothing in this entire world that I can tell you to prepare for those two tests. You're either physically or mentally fit or you're not. The psychological exam is broken down into two parts. The first is it's done online, and it's a kind of a question and answer type of thing, multiple choice, and it's one of those type of tests where it's like 200 questions and 50 of them are the same question, just asked a different way, that kind of test. Then you'll have a psychological interview, so you'll actually sit down with the doctor and you'll go over your answers and the results of the psychological exam. The pre-appointment medical exam is basically, it's like a general, like a checkup, like a physical you would get at a doctor when you go, just for like a yearly checkup type of thing. Okay, so if you make it through all those steps, your book will make its final journey up the chain of command. It goes to the chief's desk. She has the final say in everybody, and if she signs off on you, then you get a job offer to become a police officer with our department. Okay, some training information. So if you pass that step, what we do here in Glendale is we have a 3-week pre-academy to prepare you for the police academy. The number one question everybody says here is, do I get paid for that? Absolutely, yes you do. We hire you on to become a police officer. You become a police officer trainee, and you start getting paid, you start getting your benefits, all that stuff starts rolling in. So basically, for 3 weeks, you come out here to our training center, which is right here in our facility. So you'll be out back here running around the driving track, running up and down hills, doing a bunch of push-ups, doing a bunch of sit-ups, doing a bunch of running, okay? Noticing a pattern, I'm hoping, right? Okay, so it's a 3-week pre-academy. It's a really great program that we have. Not every department has a pre-academy, and you'll notice when you make it through to the normal academy, you'll see exactly who has not been keeping themselves in shape. It'll be readily apparent on day one, while you'll be ready to go from our pre-academy. The academy itself is 18 weeks. You get paid to attend the academy. It's down at South Mountain, the Arizona Law Enforcement Academy. Several agencies go there, so you'll be in with, like Phoenix and DPS and a bunch of, Peorias and other agencies, whatever you can think of around here, Tempe, Mesa, all those places. We all send our recruits down to there. So it'll be 18 weeks. It is a commuter academy. That's another question people ask a lot. Do you have to stay at the academy? No, you don't. It's 5 days a week. It's 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. You have the weekends off, okay? When I say you have the weekends off, what off means is you'll be doing push-ups, you'll be doing sit-ups, you'll be doing running, you'll be doing studying, you'll be ironing shirts and polishing shoes. But the great part is you get paid while you're doing all this. Once you finish the academy and you become a police officer, we bring you back here to our training academy, and you do a 2-week post-academy. And what this is an opportunity to get certified on like the taser, and you get different defensive tactics stuff here, and you get all your Glendale-specific certifications for 2 weeks, and we kind of get you ready for the field training program. The field training program is 3.5 months long. It's broken into 4 phases of, the first phase is 4 weeks, the second phase is 4 weeks, the third phase is 4 weeks, and then you'll have a final phase of 2 weeks. The first phase of field training is pretty eye-opening. You'll go down to the, when you graduate the academy, you feel like you've learned a lot of stuff and you're ready to go, and then your first day of field training, you realize how much you don't know and you didn't learn. So it's a real eye-opening experience, your first month of training. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna mess up, but that's okay. Everybody does it. That's what it's there for, okay? And then as it goes along, you get more and more comfortable, and then you make it to that final phase of field training where you're kind of on your own, and your field training officer will be in plain clothes and just kind of watching you, make sure you know what you're doing, and you're just kind of proving yourself, so to speak, and then off you go onto your own, and you start as a solo officer. Okay, here's our contact information. If you guys have any questions at all, these are, again, Michelle, myself, and Ann. We're background investigators. We're the ones that will be, doing all the criminal checks and all that kind of stuff. So if you have any questions at all, jot our numbers down. You can call us at any time. Excuse me. And I'm going to tell you, though, the absolute best way to get a hold of us is through email. This GPD recruitment at glendaleaz.com address, all of us in our unit, all the folks I introduced you to, we all have access to that email. So whoever's in the office at that time will get your email and they can respond to you. So if you just send it to me or to Ann or to Michelle specifically, well, we might be on vacation or we might be off or doing something else or whatever, so it might take a day or two to get back to you, as opposed to just sending it to this one. Whoever's in the office will respond to you right away, or as soon as practicable anyway. Again, you can also follow us on our social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn. GPD Recruitment is our username, okay? Again, guys, we post tons of things on there. Go on our YouTube. Do yourself a favor. That's a big one right now for where you're at in the process. Go on YouTube and watch our how-to video, our tip videos. That'll help you through the written. We have a written test one, and we have the application one. Go watch those. Those will really help you in preparing and getting through those first 2 steps, okay? Also on our website, we have an oral board tip sheet that you can download to kind of help you through the oral board as well. So we're always posting tips. We're always posting just things that we're doing on social media, so it's a really good way to keep up with everything that's going on, and you can know exactly where you're at, okay? All right, does anybody have any questions that you want to ask just kind of out loud? If you do, we'll take those now. Yes?
Where is the first place to go after your recruiter gets in? Is it South Phoenix?
After you're finished with your training?
Patrol.
Yeah, when you go on to patrol. Okay, and the question for our social media folks was, where do you go after you finish the training? And you go on to your own. Well, we stay here within the city limits of Glendale. So you can be on the north side of Glendale all the way up, in the Arrowhead Ranch area, or you could be in South Glendale. We go from Camelback all the way up just past Union Hills. There is our city limit. So you could be on the south side, you could be out west here, working in this area right here, or near the stadium and the arena. You could be up by the mall up north, or anywhere in between, really. It just depends on where there's an opening, where there's a need for officers. Okay? Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question. Is there any military preference points for the test?
Yes, the question was there any military preference points during the testing? There is. You get military preference points. There's a form to fill out, your standard preference points form, and those apply for the final tally. Okay, so when we're adding up all the points in the matrix that shows how you're ranked, that's where those points come in, and they go from 5, 10, or I can't remember all the ones that I'm sure you know where you stand at in there. So the one thing that happens, sometimes people ask, if you have preference points, you can't use those 5 points to pass a test. So if you 70 is passing on the written exam, so if you get like a 66, you can't use the 5 preference points to get a 71. Okay, it doesn't work that way. You do not, no. The question was, do you have to bring a DD-214 to the written? You don't. That'll come in later during the background investigation. You'll have to provide a DD-214. If you want to now, and I'll tell you this, we need to start the preparation. I know not everybody's getting these right now, but we'll need a member 4 copy the DD 214. Okay, so if you were in the military and you don't have that, request it now so it can get on its way. Any other questions? Yes. The question was, is there any tattoo policies? And currently, we do not have a tattoo policy. Obviously, it can't be anything offensive or gang-related or anything like that, but as it sits right now, there's none. It's kind of been in the works for a little while. The chief's kind of working with some people on it, but currently, there's nothing. It just can't be offensive or gang-related. Okay? Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, like I said, we'll all be here. We'll kind of be spread out here, so don't be afraid to come up. If you have a question you don't want to ask in front of the group, that's completely fine. It happens every single time, and that's why we do this. So we'll all be here for a while, so feel free to ask us questions. Don't be afraid. That's what we're here for. Okay. I thank all of you for attending. We appreciate you coming out. I hope it was informative. I hope you guys are ready. And thanks again for coming out. So we'll be around to answer any questions that you have. Thank you. Thanks, Periscope. All right. Bye, YouTube.